Would you like to challenge yourself in mincing your words? Then write a novella. Hey there, welcome to Pen to Paper. I'm Leah Lindman. In today's video, I'm going to talk about writing a novella, what it is, and what is the best way to write one. Now, first of all, let's go into what it is, because you obviously know what a short story is, you know what a novel is, but you may have not heard the term novella. A novel is typically 40 to 80,000 words, and obviously in some genres like science fiction and fantasy, they can exceed 80,000 words. A novella is between 20 to 40,000 words. Now, that might seem a little bit of a strange feat. Or you may not even think it's a feat. You may think to yourself, it's incredibly easy. Well, for many of us, it's not. So if you are considering writing a novella, either as a piece or a lead magnet to grab some readers to your newsletter, or in my case, I've written 3 standalone novels with each of them having a sequel novella, then this might be a pertinent video for you to watch. And I'm happy to share my tips and tricks. I've written 2 novellas for the 2 standalone novels that I've written so far, and I'm currently on the 3rd sequel novella to my latest release, Unborn Melody. Now, what's very helpful in my situation is that I've already introduced the characters and the worlds and have had time to flesh them out in the standalone novels, in the primary novels. So when I come to the sequel novella, I don't need as much space to flesh out what the characters look like, what the world looks like, because I've done that with the primary novels. So if you're looking to dip your toes into writing a novella, that might be a good way to go, because then you may not feel as anxious to force the amount of words down when it comes to describing your setting, your plot. And we're going to go into what needs to be condensed down. Another way to help yourself kind of have the feel of a novella is reading them. We all say that good writers are readers, right? So if you read a lot of novels in your genre, or just novels in general, you're going to have a good idea of, well, what it takes to write a novel. So pacing and character arcs and plot developments and story structure, and how everything that goes into writing a novel. It's the same thing for a novella, because yes, a novella has all those things, but in a much more condensed form and just not as many in number. So it would be very helpful to read novellas, try first in your genre so you get a feel for it, but you can read novellas in other genres too, and just take note how many subplots there are, how focused it is on, let's say, character development instead of setting, or vice versa. So you're going to want to kind of immerse yourself first into reading novellas and just taking notes on what you see, and then try your hand at writing a novella. Just a reminder, if you like this type of content I put out weekly, then go ahead and click the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Now, one thing with novellas is you cannot go in so many different tangents that it's not that your reader's going to get lost, but if you promise a novella, you are promising something succinct. And if you go in different tangents, then you're no longer a novella. You're going to go into the word count of a novel. So understand your parameters. You're going to have one main plot and not that many subplots. Maybe one subplot, even 2 might be too much. You just need to figure out how much space you have but really you're keeping within 20 to 40,000 words. So it's got to be condensed and succinct. One thing that you're going to want to really focus on is your character development and your plot and how your character grows inside that plot. Everything else isn't very necessary. Yes, they produce some flowers to the bouquet. I don't know if this is the right metaphor that I'm using, but point is that you need to be very laser focused on what is the most important part of the story, which is your character. You want your readers to enjoy your character and what they're going through and what do they learn or how do they grow. And this is the main thrust of your novella. Yeah, can you imagine? Now you have to make that all succinct for short stories. No, we're not going there today. But so as a novelist, these things can be very tricky because we're used to having a lot of space and a lot of words to beef up what we are trying to get across. But in novella, you cannot. You need to keep within the word count or else it's not considered a novella anymore. So I hope that these tools have been helpful to you. And if you have written a novella, what has been the most challenging part of it? And if you haven't, well, is this something that interests you? Are you perhaps going to do it? It is a different feel than a novel, but it is fun to definitely dip your toes and try something new. And why not? All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. No, why am I saying have a good evening? Have a great week. See you next week.